Now I'm going to introduce our keynote speaker today, Reverend Justin Epstein. He is the author of the book Super You and is the senior minister of the Unity Center of New York City since 2011. Prior to that, he was the senior minister of the Unity Church of Hilton Head Island for 7 years. For 3.5 years, Justin resided at Ananda Village, one of the world's most successful retreat centers and spiritual communities in the world. There he became a licensed yoga and meditation instructor based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. He was the associate minister to Eric Butterworth the last 4 years of his life and ministry, and shared the stage at Lincoln Center with such notables as Dr. Maya Angelou, Yolanda Van Zandt, Dr. Larry Dossey, and Marianne Williamson. Justin wrote a newspaper column for 7 years called Practical Spirituality, produced and hosted a cable television series by the same name, which aired in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and was a featured teacher in the movie The 12 Powers. Justin has spoken to groups across the United States, including being a featured workshop presenter and also keynote speaker at the annual Unity People's Convention, and was a featured speaker at the World Unity Convention in Moscow. In his inspirational messages, Justin integrates insights from both East and West, including Christianity, Judaism, yoga philosophy, psychology, science, and personal development. Justin tonight will talk about the quest for joy. Please give him a warm welcome.
I am so honored to be with you today. Thank you for having me speak with you on this wonderful occasion. Congratulations, graduates. Wow, you have put a lot in this past year, studying the wisdom of the different traditions, religious traditions, and learning all about becoming an interfaith minister. That is wonderful. And also, congratulations to the faculty and staff and the president and the dean and the board of directors for your support and helping prepare them for this day. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
You know, I can't believe it, but this past week was 30 years since I was ordained a Unity minister, and time just flew by. It flew by, you know. I'm wondering if my mother and dad are up there looking at me giving this message and going, huh, a Jewish center, a rabbi on the stage, and Course in Miracles, and studying the world religions, that's not bad. That's pretty good. You know, I was raised Jewish, you might have wondered, with the last name of Epstein. And, you know, you got Joel Osteen, you got Justin Epstein. People must be confused about Christian ministers, right? Well, I was raised Jewish. I received bar mitzvah in the Orthodox temple. I went to the Hebrew Academy of Tidewater the first 6 years of my schooling. And, yeah, at one point, my mother became an integral yoga instructor trained by the late Swami Satchidananda. And I'm sure some of you know he was a good friend with Rabbi Joseph Gelberman.
That's right.
And they did a lot of interfaith programs together. So I went through high school, and when I reached college, I reached a crisis in my life as a freshman. I was just in my first romantic relationship, and it was wonderful, it was exciting, and it was painful. Right? Anybody ever experienced that in relationships? They're great for spiritual growth. And the other thing was, things started to change inside of me. I just didn't like myself. I started to not like myself. I started to be cynical about people in the world. Stuff was changing. I was a communications major when I went to James Madison University, and I started to study communication, and it only helped make me self-conscious. I'm not blaming the program, but that's how my analytical mind worked. The other thing was, I had just had a wonderful high school of being junior class president and student government president, and captain of the golf team and captain of the wrestling team, and had all these awards. And now I was wondering, oh my gosh, I got to do all this again. Climb the ladder, make good grades, make a career, make money, get married, have kids, grow old, retire, and die. And I wondered, there's got to be more to life than this. Can you remember the moment in your life when you thought there's got to be more to life than this? Well, it was at that time that I remembered a book sitting around my mother's house, To Know Yourself by Swami Satchidananda. And I picked it up and began to read it. And in it he said, God is joy, Satchidananda, conscious eternal bliss. And you are created in the image of joy. I thought, wow, if that's true, that would change the world, wouldn't it? I mean, if you discover that joy is your nature, there would be no fighting, there would be no wars, there would be problems in my relationship. You know, it would just, you would be joy. Everyone would be happy and joyful. And that started me on a quest. Because now, for the first time in my life, I was either burned out or depressed or both. I can remember looking in my dorm room mirror and thinking, where did the light go in my eyes? So I started searching. I read Satchidananda. Someone introduced me to Robert Schuller, The Hour of Power. This Jewish boy started watching The Hour of Power in the Sunday mornings with Robert Schuller. This is the day, you know, that the Lord has made. And then Dr. Peel, The Power of Positive Thinking. And I thought, well, I need positive thinking. I didn't realize it was sort of positive Christianity. That was an introduction. And then I found Unity, which combined it all together. They said, look, Unity was teaching that, yes, God is within everyone, and Jesus was teaching the same thing. Because I was looking to that. I felt, if God exists, God must be love. There's no way in heaven that God would send any of the nice Jewish people that I grew up with to the hot place. It had to be more. And this was it. This was it. So I majored in religion, philosophy, and communication, and then when it was time to look for a career, my minister said, the handwriting's on the wall, Justin, apply to Unity School. So I did. It became an advanced college course, only in deeper degrees, and you had to give talks. How many of you gave a 10-minute talk this past retreat? Congratulations. You know what? The shorter they are, the harder they are. It's easier to give a 30-minute talk, isn't it, John? You know? How many of you wrote a paper this week? Congratulations to you. Hey, you know what I found in 30 years? It gets easier as you go along. You get lots of practice, and we need lots of practice. So I went to ministerial school and picked up a $1 bookshelf. I love your logo, All Faith Seminary International logo, where it says that when the four parts within, the four single parts are in harmony, the mind, the heart, the mouth, the sex organ, when they're all in harmony, then your feet are guided to the right place. Mm-hmm. They're guided to the right place. I picked up that Yogananda book, and I read it, and I thought, this is the next step for me. I need to know what this man understands. I did some ministry, and then I went to Ananda Village in Northern California to deepen my spiritual understanding of the teachings of Yogananda and to be in a community of people who were doing the same stuff. They were seeking realization of God. And it was a beautiful experience. But at one point, I felt it's time for me to start speaking again, to start teaching. I was an ordained Unity minister. And as soon as I made that decision, here's where the harmony of the 4 single parts go, my feet were guided. And I started to speak, and I got a call from Eric Butterworth in New York City saying, please come. Now, I would like to share, and then that went on for a while, and then church politics took over. Anybody know church politics? Synagogue politics? I don't know. Is it in the synagogue too? Of course not. Of course not. No. In the temple? No, no. Nowhere. Or anywhere. You know, people are people. We're people, right? And so I ended up in Hilton Head, ministering to the poor, frustrated golfers there, being in the subtropics. So, back to New York, and I want to share with you now a few ideas that I have found important, that I think may help you in your spiritual growth and also in your ministry. First of all, let's talk about the heart. The heart. Just 6 years ago, I came to come across the author of The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer. It took my spirituality to a whole nother level. Some of you familiar with Michael Singer. Took my spirituality to a whole other level. And here's the thing. Why aren't we always walking in joy? If we're created in the image of joy, like Satchidananda says, how come we're not joyful all the time? If we're honest with ourselves, we will acknowledge, I'm not joyful all the time. I feel anxiety, I feel anger, I feel frustrated, might even feel a little lust. Oh gosh, the minister said lust. You know, you have all kinds of things that surface every day. Am I telling the truth here?
Yep.
Yeah, and that is because we have repressed and suppressed so much stuff in our lifetime that it blocks the joy. All the likes and dislikes that we've had during our life, like, I like when this happens, but I don't like when that happens. Right? I like it when a butterfly lands on my arm. But rattlesnakes, they scare me. I don't want anything to do with rattlesnakes. We do that with, I was married and divorced to a guy named John. Then you hear the word John, and you're like, oh no, not a John. You see, it's because we have stuffed stuff. The Buddhists call it samskaras. Packets of energy that we said, I don't want to feel that. And when we do feel it, instead of dealing with it, we go out to try to fix the world. If we feel lonely, I need a life partner. If we don't feel important, we need to do something to feel important. I'm going to go get a degree. I'm going to go get a position, And I've found the path for me, and this is something, Natalia, that we can do every day. And that is when something outside comes in, which it does, and touches our hearts and disturbs our energy, it's an opportunity to practice our spirituality. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
How do we embody these teachings? We do it every single day. Not just in our meditation. Meditation is a practice. Meditation is to help us be able to be in that place where we can feel the emotions and observe our mind. You see? One of the great ideas, even before we look at the mind and the heart, is to recognize that God is not just in you like a raisin in a bun. God's in me. Well, where is she? Where is she? God is in you like the ocean is in a wave. You are the wave. And it took me a long time to understand that you in there. By the way, are you in there? How many of you are in there? Of course I'm in there, Reverend. I can hear you say, are you in there? But you know what? The you that's in there, the you that's aware, is God. The you that's in there I am aware that I am aware is the same one that spoke to Moses in the wilderness and said, I am that I am. I am aware that I'm aware. The question is, how long do you stay in that awareness? The Buddhists call it the seat of self. The spiritual journey, ladies and gentlemen, I believe, is to stay in that seat of awareness so that no matter what happens in your world and in your life, you are able to observe your mind and your heart and to relax around. I just had to chuckle when the sound wasn't working, different things happened. Hey, it doesn't matter whether you're trying to be an instrument of God or not. Stuff's going to happen. Right? I've found that so many times. I've dealt with hecklers trying to take over the service. I've dealt with people who were out of their mind, disturbing the congregation. I've dealt with, one time I did a wedding and it was in a beautiful mansion. Some of y'all are going to do weddings and funerals. How many of y'all are excited about doing that? I wasn't excited about doing weddings and funerals. I just wanted to teach. Well, it's part of the job, And we were at this beautiful mansion. The couple put tape on the ground where I was supposed to stand. They had tents out on the lawn. They were going to make it all perfect. And the bride had her father, who had Alzheimer's, her grandfather, walk her down the aisle. And right when they walked down the aisle, dun, 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 the music stopped and his pants dropped to the floor. The audience they were trying to keep themselves from laughing. People jumped out of the audience to bring his pants up. He didn't care, he just chuckled. When you are doing ministry, just because we want to be an instrument of God does not mean it's all going to come together perfectly. You know what? Ministry is one great way to grow spiritually. Let me tell you. You can go, oi, Volt, why didn't the Zoom link work? I'm so disappointed. People were going to watch me on Zoom. Why didn't they get it done sooner? Or whatever. Why can't they buy a new one? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Opportunity for growth. Why are we disappointed? What were we wanting? What were we expecting? You see, that's an opportunity to be in the seat of self and to observe your reaction and recognize that is my stuff that I buried over time. If it wasn't our stuff, we would be constantly in joy. We would go, no Zoom, that's fine. We're going to have an intimate gathering just like we did before, and we'll get to celebrate today, and guess what? We'll send a video out, and then we get to celebrate again. We'll have two celebrations. You see, when you are in the seat of self, you can relax and let your stuff move through you. Yeah, I see disappointment. Yeah, I see some frustration. Let me just let it pass through because I know it's my stuff. And when we let enough stuff pass through us, guess what? We start to tap into the joy. We start to tap into the fulfillment. We start to tap into the contentment. And when the mind, talk about the four single parts, the mind does what the heart tells it to. Right? If you're upset, that mind starts talking, doesn't it? Well, did you know what she said to me? How dare she say it? Doesn't she know I'm an interfaith minister? I mean, I deserve more respect than that. I'm an interfaith minister. Or whatever, a unity minister, or whatever. The mind starts going because the heart is upset. Right? Anybody ever talk to yourself? No. Right? How am I going to get this talk done? It's not coming together. I'm scared. What am I supposed to do? The paper's not coming together. Of course it does. If we're honest with ourselves, the mind talks. Why? Because the heart is upset. The key is to relax. To not try to change the world, but to change yourself. It's been said that a smart person tries to change the world, but a wise person changes him or herself. So the spiritual journey is every moment. It's watching your thoughts, it's watching your heart, and it's learning to relax around it. If you don't want to be a witness and observer, you can make your mind think whatever you want to. right? It's your mind. You're the one in there. You're the one in there. You are God living itself as you. You're the one in there who can make your mind think whatever it wants. It's like, oh, it's hot in here. Okay, mind, thanks for telling me. Thank you for sharing. Why is it hot in here? Because 92 million miles away, whatever it is exactly, is something called a star. There's a star out there shining down on us. Is that amazing? That's why we're hot, because we got a star shining on us. You know what? We're on a planet where there's nothing else going on out there. You realize that? There's only red dirt on Mars, right? There's nothing going on out there. You and I won the lottery. We are on the planet Earth floating in space. And 1.3 million planet Earths can fit in our sun. And we're worried about it being hot. See what I'm saying? It's all a matter of what we decide we want to think. We can make a hell of heaven or a heaven of hell, as the great author said. It's up to us. It's up to us. And every day is an opportunity to practice. A couple of ministerial tips. Would you like a couple of ministerial tips? That's a little spiritual, a little ministerial tips. Think of God as the doer. This is not about you, and it's not about me. It's about being an instrument of spirit. Mother Teresa, I loved her. She didn't care about the Nobel Peace Prize. She didn't care about the accolades. All she cared about was pleasing spirit. That's all she cared about. She said, I'm simply a pencil in the hands of God writing a love letter to the world. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
That's what we are. You're not going to be an interfaith minister. You are spirit expressing as you, taking the role of an interfaith minister. That's what we are. Let us not think that, oh, I'm a minister. I know the truth. Let me tell you, I know that in the congregations that I've served, there have always been people more advanced spiritually than me. And they didn't know it. Why? Because they were truly spiritual. They were humble. But they need to hear the truth spoken to them too. They need to be in a community too where people support one another, and I just happen to have the role of minister. You see what I'm saying? It's all about waking up. Waking up. It really ultimately doesn't matter what we do, as Mother Teresa said. She said it's not, there are no great acts. There are only small acts done with great love. With great love. Now, you know, we got to give our humanness a bone and say, hey, congratulations on the work that we've done. But really, it's Spirit doing the work through us. God is the doer. God is the one. And we are the vehicles, the instruments through which Spirit goes. Make sure you serve God, and that's why you do what you do. You know why? Because no matter how likable you are, there will always be people who don't like you. Why? Because we project our own stuff onto other people. And people have authority issues. They had a problem with daddy, they had a problem with mommy, and now you're the minister in an authority position. There are going to be people who have problems with you. Not because of you, but because of them. Don't do it for accolades. Don't do it for, oh, I gave a great talk today, you know, or whatever. Don't do it for those reasons, because you will suffer. You will suffer. The universe will give you all kinds of opportunities to say, okay, it's not about me. It's about spirit. It's about service. It's about letting God be God through me. And that's not easy. But our humanness, when you observe it, you can remind yourself, you know, I'm really nervous about this wedding. Okay, it's not about me. It's about letting God do it through me. It's
Amen.
about letting Spirit flow through me. Be a good listener. Your logo talks about the mouth. You know, Satchidananda said the mouth has a few locks on it, or doors. You've got teeth and you got two lips, meaning listen more than you talk. How many good listeners do you know in your life? who really get you and understand you? I'm going to guess not a lot. Not a lot. Everybody wants to be understood, but how many people are willing to extend understanding? I love Stephen Covey's habit: seek first to understand, then to be understood. Develop our listening capacity. It is a key in relationships. It is a key in leadership. And then, lastly, know that you always are guided. You're always guided. Even when it looks like things are falling apart, you're being guided. Remember in your life what brought you to where you are. What got you started, what got you to where you are. And trust that presence that's always with you. I love Yogananda's quote: there is a river of joy inside of you. Go find it and drown yourself. God bless you.